When you think about it, travel is all about trust. It's a leap of faith into the unknown. But here's the catch. That very trust, the secret sauce that makes any adventure possible, is also the exact vulnerability that scammers have been exploiting for centuries.
So in this explainer, we're going to take a journey of our own through the wild evolution of travel scams. And what you're going to see is pretty amazing. The methods, the technology, they change like crazy. But the psychological triggers they hit? Oh, those have stayed exactly the same.
Because the entire history of travel fraud really boils down to this one fundamental clash. Our deep-seated human desire to explore versus the cold, hard greed of those who see that desire as a golden opportunity for a scam.
Okay, let's dive right into our first era, the 19th and early 20th centuries. You gotta picture it. Information moved at a snail's pace, but people were starting to travel the globe. This was the perfect storm, a golden age for audacious con artists to pull off frauds on a scale that is just mind-boggling today. And for the ultimate example, you have to hear the story of Gregor MacGregor. This is just wild. Back in the 1820s, this guy, a supposed war hero, convinced hundreds of people to invest their life savings, and in many cases their actual lives, in a country that was completely and utterly made up.
See, MacGregor's real genius wasn't just telling a big lie. No. He built an entire believable system around it. He published a 350-page guidebook, he designed a national flag, printed currency, and even sold government bonds on the London Stock Exchange. He manufactured a whole ecosystem of legitimacy. The result? It was an absolute human catastrophe. 2 shiploads of settlers, about 250 people, arrived not to a bustling colony, but to an untouched, hostile jungle. Before a rescue party could even get there, more than 150 of them were dead from disease and starvation.
So, let's fast forward. The world starts moving faster, and guess what? So do the scams. We jump to the mid-20th century, and boom, the jet airliner and the package holiday arrive. Suddenly, travel isn't just for the ultra-wealthy, but with this new scale came a completely new kind of threat.
The danger was no longer a single, charismatic criminal like MacGregor. Now, the risk was systemic. It was the catastrophic failure of the very corporations that made mass travel possible. For the traveler, though, the effect was exactly the same. Your trip is ruined and your money is gone.
A perfect example of this is the collapse of Court Line in 1974. Imagine, one of the biggest tour operators in the UK just goes bankrupt overnight. Instantly, 35,000 travelers are stranded overseas with no way home. 100,000 more are left holding tickets that are now just worthless pieces of paper. Now, it wasn't a malicious scam, but the devastation was so huge that it directly led to the creation of the consumer protection funds that safeguard travelers today.
And that, of course, brings us to the internet age. And boy, this is where fraud completely transformed. It went from a retail operation, depending on one person's charm, into a scalable, automated, wholesale industry that could target millions of people with almost no effort.
And the scale today is, well, it's just staggering. The estimated fraud losses in the global travel industry are around $21 billion a year. That's not a few bad guys in a basement. That's an industrial-level problem.
So where is all that money going? You might think the biggest problem is fake websites, but the data is kind of surprising. The single biggest threat making up 60% of all fraud is account takeover. That's when criminals get into your real airline and hotel accounts to steal your points and your payment information.
And the number one way they get in is through phishing. It's that email or text that looks like it's from a real airline, tricking you to giving up your password. In a weird way, it's the modern version of what MacGregor did, using the appearance of legitimacy to get you to lower your defenses.
And that brings us to our final stop, and frankly, the most frightening era that we're just now entering, the age of artificial intelligence. This is a technology that threatens to go beyond just faking information, to faking reality itself. I want you to really think about this question. For all of human history, our own senses, what we see, what we hear, have been our ultimate reality check. AI is on the verge of making that fundamental tool completely obsolete.
Just look at how quickly this is escalating. We went from convincing-looking emails to deepfake audio that can perfectly mimic a loved one's voice. We are right on the cusp of AI-generated videos being totally indistinguishable from reality. The future here is hyper-personalized illusions, custom-made to fool you.
And this isn't science fiction, it's already being used. There's a terrifying scam happening right now called virtual kidnapping. Criminals take a voice sample of your kid from a social media video, clone it with AI, and then call you.
And what you hear is the voice of your loved one pleading for help while they demand an immediate ransom.
So the future is shaping up to be a perpetual arms race. For every AI tool a scammer uses to create a fake website or a deepfake voice, you can bet security experts are developing an AI tool to detect it. It's just going to be a constant high-tech battle of cat and mouse.
So, after this whole tour of deception, what's the takeaway? Well, the goal here is not to make you afraid to travel. It's about being vigilant, because awareness is empowerment.
Because this right here is the single most important thing to remember. The technology will always change, from forged paper documents to deep fake AI. But the target never, ever changes. It's always our own psychology, our greed for a deal, our fear in an emergency, our trust in a brand name, and that powerful sense of urgency.
That means our best defense doesn't have to be complicated. It's really about a few simple habits. Always verify through an official app or website. Never, ever a link you were sent. Be deeply suspicious of anything that creates artificial urgency. And maybe most important of all, trust your gut. If a call, an email, or an offer just feels wrong, it is.
The history we've just looked at makes one thing crystal clear. The tools of deception will always get more sophisticated. So the final question is one we all have to answer for ourselves. Will our vigilance evolve along with them,